how often do you change your password to ensure a more unique and complex combination? Well, cybersecurity experts say this might not even be enough to safeguard your devices. Duane Nicol of Mimecast says passwords are often a weak link in security despite an increase in regular security awareness training. The latest Mimecast report found that 71% of South African organizations had experienced an attack that spread from one infected employee to others. Let's chat some more now. As we marked World Password Day, I'm joined by Duane Nicol. He's a cybersecurity expert at Mimecast, and he joins us virtually from Cape Town. Duane, thank you so much. You know, my colleagues who are in the IT department here at eNCA will be giggling watching me chat to you, because I'm the one that says, what do you mean you need a number and an individual character and I can't use that word and I can't use my mother's second name? Do you want a drop of blood from me as well for my passport? What more do you want, Duane? What more do we need to do to secure our profiles in our various offices that we are lucky enough to work in?
That's a tough first question. Good morning. Look, I think what happens is a lot of the times we get bogged down by two main things. The first thing is that we've just got more and more access to more and more technologies, and these technologies require us to have some form of password. So we're asking these general users, you know, please have 97 characters, a special character, your mom's second name, the house you grew up in's address, and, you know, please make sure that those are different across 100 technologies, which is just not manageable, right? Thankfully, you know, there's some technologies that store passwords and help us make it, you know, even easier to use passwords that we don't know, for example, and just make sure that they're secure. You know, but over time, you know, those become less secure as, you know, you see these breaches hit the media almost daily nowadays, where, you know, some of these password keepers get hacked, and then all of a sudden 96 of those technologies that you have access to are accessible by threat actors. Now, the reality is that, you know, the best password is ones we don't know, because that's the ones that we can't be cracked from. But, you know, looking at that report that Mimecast recently generated, you know, the most popular password in the world is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you imagine someone taking that access, using it with an email address that you might have freely available online, and just trying every single social media platform, banking platform, technology platform, Office 365 account. And as soon as they've got one area of access and, you know, relying on human laziness, knowing that we generally use the same password for multiple things, it's only a matter of time until they get into something sensitive like your banking, and that would obviously wreak havoc on a more personal note.
Duane, but how trustworthy are these password generators? I mean, I feel like even on our iPhones, when they say, oh, do you want to save your passport? And I'm always like, no, don't save it. Never, ever save it on here, because the bad guys will be able to get in there as well. How safe are these things that are supposed to help us when it comes to passwords?
Yeah, you know, the biggest and the best ones will put a lot of effort and focus into remaining secure. And companies like Apple put a huge amount of investment into making sure that their controls and their technologies that are in place to protect their consumers are world class. Those are generally quite satisfactory in terms of security. But that also comes with, you know, with that kind of power comes great responsibility. And what that means is that, you know, when you've got something that's really world-class, really secure, you paint a target on your back. You know, most big security vendors have to double down on their security measures because they've got such a huge array of threat actors trying to be the guy that makes the news headlines, I brought down technology X. And that becomes incredibly challenging, not just for security businesses, but as that whittles down into just general businesses, because even if the biggest security vendors in the world are having to place military-grade security on themselves, it's just not scalable down to a window company in Johannesburg or a flooring company in Cape Town. It's not as easily accessible, and if it is, it's incredibly expensive. And this is where threat actors really focus their attacks, because they know exactly that's how the market is operating. It's highly complex, it's highly targeted, it's mostly expensive, and they just pick and choose their targets and then just relentlessly go and attack those small businesses as their prime targets for attack.
Talk to me about passwordless authentication, because I'm thinking this must be the way of the future. Read my retina or my thumbprint or whatever, but I know our phones went away from thumbprint reading for some reason ages ago. Anything that prevents me from having to remember something in my overstuffed brain already would be better, surely.
Well, I mean, if we get microchips implanted into us at some point in the future, I'm sure those will store a plethora of passwords. But the reality is again, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's becoming more and more impossible. Cybersecurity experts like myself, even, I can't keep tabs of all my passwords, and it becomes increasingly challenging, especially as I prioritize what's more important, my Facebook or my banking. And I think what's emerging is the fact that your face is becoming, biometrics we're seeing on most banking apps now. We're seeing multi-factor authentication, where if you're logging on your laptop, in order to get into this application, you've got to okay that authentication via your mobile device or a secondary device. And this brings another array of challenges. I'm an end user. I just want to do my work and get to my job and have my coffee and complete my tasks. But now I have to okay this thing, and then I have to add in this token, and then I have to do that across 30 technologies, which just destroys productivity, at least in the end user sense. And this is where awareness training comes in, as you mentioned a bit earlier. A lot of companies are investing a lot of time into training their end users just to understand how deep and how dangerous the threat landscape really goes. Because I just don't feel that finance managers in any sector in our country really look at this and go, I need to care about cybersecurity today. They don't. They care about monthly deadlines, financial targets, and those kinds of sorts. And they do a very good job at that. But throw in the cybersecurity, and please take your training. We need to be secure. We need to be on top of these dangers. It's just a lesser seen, priority for general end users. And that's really where cybersecurity awareness training is proven. That, just by laying some general responsibility, understand what phishing is, understand what ransomware is, understand these 5 or 6 different topics. It's raising the intelligence level of just general employees by 5 or 10%, which has an incredible +1 effect on user intelligence around the dangers of cybercrime.
Final question, Duane. Should we always accept all cookies? And B, should we avoid those social media quizzes which ask which Sex and the City character you want to be?
Cookies are good and bad. I think in any sense of the word cookie, they can be good or bad. As soon as any privacy legislation changes, I log into every website and it's just accept all. And some of the best websites don't offer an accept all. They offer a view into, go to change the settings of which cookies are allowed.
Oh,
and
who does that?
Again, as if any user is just waiting to go and change those. So I think accept cookies is fair. It makes our browsing experience a lot easier. It remembers who you are, and then obviously offers you content that's in line with your expectations, which can be good. Obviously, it can also be bad because that information is used against you to target ads. The second question, which I just seem to have slipped, which was, if you wouldn't mind.
It was those social media quizzes. Which Sex and the City character are you, or what dog would you be? And you just click through and you're answering all these questions. How dangerous are those? If you can, just in a very short answer.
I definitely think you can continue to have fun, but when it starts asking you for the home address of your childhood home, that's where it becomes a little bit less obvious. So be careful what you do answer on Facebook.
But we can continue with the cookies. Thank you so much. Duane Nicol is the cybersecurity expert at Mimecast, joining us virtually there from Cape Town. You heard it there. You can accept all the cookies, but don't give away the address of where you grew up.